Hey friends, Justin here with a quick talk about, oh my goodness, Nomadland. So, one of my favorite films, and I'm going to say my favorite film of 2020 was Nomadland. I genuinely enjoyed the performances for the performative aspect of Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, but in terms of a film, there was nothing like Nomadland in 2020. Um, Surprised, I guess originally surprised, and then now thinking about it and reflecting, not surprised that the director, is Chinese born. They seem to be able to tell uniquely American stories in an interesting way. Um, Non-Americans seem to be able to tell colloquial American stories in a fascinating and authentic way that sometimes we're so concentrated on being forward and not being repetitive and doing something new that we forget about sometimes the basics. So a lot of times someone on the outside looking into American culture can really grasp it. Do you understand what I mean? Um, the majesty in this film is in the quiet moments. It's in the wind blowing in the desert. You have to, I was telling someone on Facebook this morning when I posted about Nomadland, I said, you have to know a little bit about the road. You have to know a little bit about life to truly appreciate the artistry here. Because what the director has captured and told, illustrated through Frances McDormand's performance, is a life. It's the emotions that one goes through living a nomadic lifestyle. Moving from place to place and having home be a forward concept instead of somewhere that you've been. The human mind, it creates normalcy out of any situation, so that if what is behind you is destructive, you tend to look forward to paradise and to what's coming. Um, Within maybe 30 or 40 seconds, within a couple of minutes of this movie opening, I had said, just those guttural noises, the sounds of recognition when art touches you in a unique way. And I knew, from the story, from the title, I had I hoped it was a gypsy journey. But when I started watching it and realized it was an authentic journey, a lot of the steps that she had taken, across the desert were steps I've personally taken. Um, you know, I really, really, and I think a lot of people, I'm so glad that the Academy, saw it for what it was. So it swept Best Director, Best Actress, and Best Film of the Year, and deservedly so. Deservedly so. If you guys have not watched Nomadland, which follows Frances McDormand, and she really just tries to survive. It's a coming of age. It's a modern coming of age story about uh, modernism and corporate greed and the death of civilization and gentrification and what gets left behind and the people that get left behind. Um, what really struck me about this film, and I'm sorry for being so quiet. It's been a while since I watched it, but the Oscars really inspired me to get on and talk about it. Was the love that she carried. She carried these small knickknacks, of the life that she had before. And it wasn't about the place that she was in. It was about holding on to those memories, and that being a good thing. And that's so representative of my life that it was touching. I found myself just crying at different times of the film because it was so representative of something I don't think anyone has ever seen in Hollywood before. And, that's an authentic American experience. And to find out, that it was directed by a Chinese American director is just fascinating. It really, really is. And it speaks to the strength of I don't know, the strength of the American experiment, the influence of Americanism all over the world, um, and how poetic life and different things can be. Even struggle can be seen as triumph. I loved how the journey, was the prize in this film. I love how they talked about that. I loved how they didn't talk about it, but it was implied, that all along this journey, this girl is living. She's meeting people. She's on the road. She's having the time of her life. It may not always be fun, but it was the time of her life. And I'm a little less nomadic than I have been in years past, but I've lived in 4 or 5 different cities. And I just really related to her experience, the emotions that she felt when she got to the RV lot and the lady finally found her reservation and realized that she had a legal space to park for the night, and the visible relief that she showed. Um, the things that we get used to in this life, being insecure about food, being insecure about family, and the places that we find it. And she found family in interesting and beautiful places and ways that I have. I've picked up mother figures and friends and all kinds of things along the way, along my journey that, had I not been a nomad, had I not gone out on my own, I just wouldn't be the same person. Um, I hope this inspires some people to not accept normalcy, to decide to live differently. That you don't need $1 million to retire, that you don't need $1 million to have freedom. Um, and I'll leave you with this because I see this as really a rambling review. Even in the struggle, even in Frances McDormand's struggle, there was beauty. Beauty in the journey, beauty in the life that she was living, beauty in the choices that she was making, the humility that she was showing, how she rolled with the punches like a lot of nomadic people do. And it was just beautifully illustrated, and it was a love letter to that part of Americana that I relate to. It's not tied to race. It's not tied to um, tribalism, but just the modern American experience, and changing economies and changing housing markets. It's dynamic, it's fascinating, and it's a must watch. You do have to get into a quiet space, into a quiet mood in order to take in the atmospheric nature of this film, but it will feed you, it will nourish you, and I wasn't the same after I watched it. So I hope you guys have watched it, and I hope you enjoyed my little talk or discussion about the Frances McDormand vehicle, Nomadland. It just swept the Oscars last night. So please watch it. Come back. Let's talk about it. Do you relate to the characters? Do you relate to the story? Um, Tell me what you think. And as always, guys, please give me a like, a comment, and please subscribe for more movie and TV related content. I'll see you guys soon. Bye bye.